Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I thought I'd do a sort of a brief video today about buying fresh persimmons in the shops. What brought this to my mind was a comment my good friend Peter Entwistle made, that he'd seen some Rojo Brillants persimmons in, I presume, his local supermarket, and decided not to buy them because he was in a rush and he didn't know how to select the persimmons or know which ones would be ripe, or how, if there was a way to tell if they were good ones or bad ones. So I thought I'd probably do a quick video on them for anyone who's sort of seen them in the supermarket and concerned themselves about buying them. And in particular, because he said the last ones he had about 10 years ago were pretty dreadful. He said they were not a pleasant experience at all, and he's never bought them or eaten them since. Now, I suspect that as it was probably 9 or 10 years ago, that they were probably astringent. They weren't ripe, because the tendency will be to go and obviously buy a nice orange looking fruit like this and eating it. And then if it's astringent, it's a very unpleasant taste experience, because 9 or 10 years ago they probably hadn't fully introduced the gas treatment that they use now to remove astringency. Now that might sound terrible if you don't know what it involves. Basically, you have astringent and non-astringent varieties. The main two types of persimmon sold in the UK are the Rojo Brillant, a large quantity of which are grown in, I think, commercially in Spain and Italy, and obviously some out in, depending on the time of year, South Africa, Israel and other warm climates. The other one is the one that's quite often marketed as a Sharon fruit. Now, both of those persimmons are actually Asian persimmons, and they're referred to in some countries as kaki. That's K-A-K-I. Excuse me. But basically the variety that is normally marketed as a Sharon fruit, I think that's a registered name. It's called that because it's grown in the Sharon Valley in Israel, and actually I believe the variety is normally Tipo. Now, you can occasionally buy Fuyu persimmons here, which are a non-astringent variety and are quite similar in appearance to the Sharon fruit or Triumph. Excuse me. But the Rojo Brillant and the Triumph or Sharon fruit are both astringent varieties. Now, it's been discovered in recent years, obviously, as well as the tried and tested way of doing what we do, which is leaving the fruits in our fruit bowl for a long period of time, or indeed putting them in a bag with perhaps a ripening banana or apple that will help them ripen quicker. There are now a number of ways of getting these fruits to ripen a bit, if they're homegrown, to ripen quicker, or you can just leave them until they're exposed to frosts. But all, pretty much, I think 95% of commercially grown persimmons in Europe are now treated with carbon dioxide gas, and I believe the process is they're put into a large warehouse room, and either carbon dioxide is passed over them, or they pass through a chamber slowly, which has carbon dioxide in, or possibly the whole, as I said, the whole room may be flooded with carbon dioxide. I don't know how long the process takes. I don't think it's something that happens in an hour or so. I think it can take 48 hours, and the carbon dioxide works in basically the same way that ethylene works on ripening bananas and apples, in that it removes the astringency from the fruit. So when you go and find them in the supermarket, you don't really need to worry yourself too much about whether you think they're ripe or not, or the colour of the fruit. Basically, once they've been treated astringency, this should, even though this is hard like an apple, and I'm going to cut it open and taste it and see, this Rojo Brillant, which I got today, should not be astringent, assuming it's one of the treated fruits. Now, as I said, they nearly all are. Now, these ones were only 80p each at my local corner shop, and I deliberately picked them today because I wanted some freshly bought hard ones to compare with a couple that I've got left that I bought probably a couple of weeks ago. I think these came from Aldi. Now, when these were bought, they looked exactly like these. So I think when you're looking for buying persimmons in the shop, basically it's quite obvious. It doesn't really matter whether they're pale orange, medium orange, or dark orange, or even got differentiation, a difference, you know, a variation in colour. You can see this one's light orange here and a darker orange here. Basically, it's just the preference of whether you prefer to eat them firm and crunchy like an apple, or whether you prefer them, as a lot of people do, until they go very soft and turn like a dark tomato colour. And if I press on this, this is now quite soft and spongy, and basically I'm going to cut them open and try both sorts. Now, these were probably bought about, as I said, 2 weeks ago, and they were firm and orange, but what you want to avoid basically is big chunks out the fruit where they've been mishandled by the wholesalers or the growers, because obviously a fruit that's got a large damaged area and it will deteriorate quicker. But even when they start to get some mould on the skin, this one hasn't got, but you can get little mouldy patches on the surface of the skin. You'll find if you just cut that little bit off that the rest of the fruit should be perfectly edible. And they do vary in colour, persimmons do, and flavour and sweetness. Persimmons are a fruit that do carry on ripening once they're off the tree, which is why we've got a fair chance of growing them in our climate, although I suspect our cold climate grown ones don't have the carbohydrate in the fruits which turn to sugars as they ripen. That's what I'm finding, they're a little bit bland here. So basically I'm going to cut this one, I'm going to cut the firmest one open here, which I bought today, and as I said, this was about 80p for a singly bought fruit. I just bought from my little corner shop who has them large parts of the year. That says Dulsor on it, which is almost certainly the grower, and I could probably look it up online, but I'm guessing it's going to be a Spanish grower. So we'll cut this, and it should be a very firm pale orange colour. Now, it's crunchy, it's hard, and you can see it looks like a very pale orange apple colour. This is about as unripe as you'd buy them, but I wanted to see if it was astringent or not. So we'll have let me just have a bite of this. It's sweet. It's sweet. It's really crunchy. Like my Asian pears, I like them crunchy. Got good juice content in it. You can bite it and eat the skin, you don't need to peel it. You can peel them if you want to, but interestingly, when they're crispy, I find the skin quite soft and easy to eat. But that's a very, very pleasant fruit. Now for direct comparison, Peter, and this refers to, this will work for the Sharon fruit variety as well, the Triumph, which is a much flatter fruit, which you can normally sort of see four sort of divisions in the fruit, if you like. It's got a slightly unique shape to it, a bit similar to a fuyu actually. Now this one, when I open it up, I expect to be like a soft jelly inside, which is how a lot of people like to eat their persimmons, and probably how you have to eat American persimmons, because they aren't normally, they don't lose their astringency when they're firm. But I'm going to make another video when I'm going to be harvesting most of my Morris Burton persimmons. I'm going to talk about 3 ways of allegedly reducing the astringency on the persimmons, and I will be testing out the video. So let's cut this one open. Now, you should be able to clearly see the difference now in appearance between these two fruits. Hopefully you can see that. See how this one is squash and it's gone like a jelly. It's absolutely dripping with juice. So I'm just going to, you can eat it with a spoon at this stage. It's just like eating an orange jelly. See how juicy it is. Let me just pull that out for you. Now normally when they get this soft, I actually don't tend to eat the skin so much. I sort of, the flesh falls away from the skin, and as they get a little bit older, the fruit, sometimes the skin actually gets a bit harder and more chewy. So let's try this one. Okay, that's even sweeter than the hard one. Obviously it's a very different texture, but for me it's a very nice texture. It's not like you could eat, if you had a soggy apple, it would be very unpleasant. This is a lovely sort of, it's almost like eating a cross between a jelly and an ice cream. That's a very nice fruit. And you can leave them longer than this. They'll get softer and softer till virtually you can't pick them up without them collapsing. But this is the stage at which I enjoy eating them when they get to this level of ripeness. I don't really want them much soggier than that. Again, zero astringency, and this particular fruit has developed even more sweetness than this one. So if you go and buy your persimmons, you really haven't got to worry, Peter, whether they're firm and hard like that. You should still be, what I would recommend, if you buy a pack of 3, which is probably about, I'm going to guess about £1.60, £1.80 for a pack of 3 in the supermarkets that sell them, I would advise trying one when it's firm and hard, and probably leaving a couple more in your fruit bowl for a couple of weeks until they get this dark soft orangey colour, and trying those as well to see how you get on with them. You can freeze them as well, makes it quite interesting, but I'm going to cover that in another video. So I hope that's going to be useful to you if you've seen that, and anyone else who's either nervous about trying persimmons or has never got round to trying them yet. They shouldn't be astringent if you buy them like this in the shops, because all European persimmons should have been treated for astringency by exposing them to carbon dioxide. I'm sure it's carbon dioxide they use. And of course, if you do buy some or get some from a friend who's grown them in their garden, they won't have been treated and they will be astringent, and that's why I'll cover that in another video when I talk about my Morris Burtons. Anyway, thanks for watching that video. I hope it's going to be of use to some people. I'm going to put the others back in the fruit bowl and just eat the ones that I've broken into. Please do share the video if you think it will be useful for people who don't know anything about persimmons or Sharon fruit or khakis. Please do remember to subscribe to my channel if anything I do or grow interests you, and remember to click on the bell if you want updates on new videos when they come out. I'll catch up with you all in the next video. Brett out for now.